Hey, dude.
A striking woman leans against
Oh,
the
it's a
cabin
woman.
top of her sailing boat, smiling as you approach. Her green raincoat glistens with droplets. A silk scarf is tied around her throat.
Good afternoon, officers. I'm Joyce.
Nice to meet you, Joyce.
Joyce L. Messier. I represent the board of Wild Pines, the owners of the harbour. You gentlemen must be from the RCM.
What's the L stand for?
Baton, my maiden name.
RCM, what's that?
I meant you, the Revachol Citizens Militia. The police.
Yeah, that's me. What gave us away?
Nothing, honestly. I've said it to every drunk in town, and you're the first one who's responded.
Relax. She meant it in jest.
Oh. I mean, could have been true.
I'm glad to see you here. I was dispatched to handle a strike, not a lynching. Anything I can do to assist the RCM in this matter, I will. Gladly.
Oh, you're the strike negotiator.
That is good to hear, madame. My colleague will take the lead on this interview. I should let you know that he is recovering from an unusual medical episode. Very unusual. But I can assure you of his ultimate competency.
Oh, you flatter me. You flatter me, Lieutenant Kitsuragi. Also, you gas me up a little too much.
There's a trace of irony in his voice. Mischief, even. The lieutenant is hatching some scheme.
Oh?
How interesting. I wish you a swift recovery. In the meanwhile, you have my full cooperation, and the full cooperation of the Wild Pines group.
What are you scheming, Lieutenant?
It's hard to get a read on her precise disposition, but she appears helpful.
You're on a boat.
Why, yes I am.
Not a lot of people on boats, are there?
Of course there are. We're on an archipelago. How else are you supposed to get around?
Wait, we're on an archipelago?
Yes, we are. We are on Le Caillou.
The Caillou? I thought we were in Revachol.
We are. And the city of Revachol is on the island of Le Caillou.
Oh. I haven't seen anyone else sail a boat around here, though.
I haven't seen anyone else drive a souped-up Capri Kenema motor carriage either.
Well, Lieutenant does.
Actually, that motor carriage has been specially issued to serve as a patrol and pursuit vehicle. It's for crossing long distances in the greater Revachol industrial harbor. It's not a toy.
He's offended.
Neither is this. A toy, I mean. It's a machine for crossing long distances in the Bay of Revachol, between the city and the islands.
You need to make this lady admit she's only riding around on this boat because she's rich.
Oh, she's rich. Oh, I need to talk to her about stuff. Why?
Why what? Stop thinking. Take her down.
It'll come off like I'm envious and I'm not.
You're not? Okay then. Just keep on admiring the boat then. Unburdened by envy.
Yeah. She have a name?
The boat? No. It is called Cordelati 19 because that's the type of sloop it is.
Cordelati.
The word it feels strange. Such a beautiful boat deserves a proper name.
Alright, that's cool, but your boat really needs a name?
Okay. How about Cordelati 19? Why?
Sad.
Because it was manufactured in Revachol East by a company called Cordelati, and its hull is 19 paces long.
How about Dolores?
Why Dolores?
I just like the name for some reason.
Well, it means nothing to me. I think I'll stick with the factory name. But thank you for the suggestion.
Sad. Kind of boat.
It's a pleasure craft. A 19-pacer. It also happens to be rated for Category 1 racing, though these days I mainly use it for business.
How do you like it?
My sloop? I like it a lot. It's the eel's hips, baby.
Ew, don't say that.
I'm enjoying this part of the interview. It has so little to do with the murder we're investigating.
I love you. You're so sassy.
I really do, the lieutenant thinks. Is she thrown off yet? He's looking at the woman, assessing her.
You have a license?
Officer, I assure you I'm a highly qualified pleasure craft operator.
The crowns of her teeth are porcelain, white as the boat's hull as she smiles. Her nonchalance might be related to something called the Wayfarer Act, a law that says she doesn't need a license. Sly Fox, you're not aggressive enough to harass her further on this.
Well, I think I got a handle on the boat thing.
Good.
Tell me about the Wild Pines. What do you do?
What we do. I'm afraid I don't speak for Wild Pines as a whole. It's a giant undertaking.
There was a touch of discomfort there. She wants to merely represent.
So she doesn't fully agree with what their ideology is, maybe? So what do they do?
The Pines' core competency is logistics. Container shipping, freight, that sort of thing. See those airships there, blinking? Those are the shipping side of things.
Airships.
And that is the terminal. Another subdivision deals with energy, oil and gas exploration, offshore platforms.
The Wild Pines Group is one of the original Revacholian Indo-tribes. Companies awarded royal monopolies by the king,
Ew.
the suzerain himself, centuries ago. The king is long gone, but several of the Indo-tribes remain.
So who are the other Indo tribes?
Son Baptiste, Elysium, an unknown entity known as Brightest Star.
Thank you, encyclopedia in my brain. You're in good company, it seems.
Why, thank you.
So how much money do they make?
I'm not at liberty to discuss the company balance sheet, but I can tell you that last year, the company booked more than 20 billion real in revenue.
Wow. Wow.
20 billion is a large number, but the conglomerate employs 72,000 people. They all need to be paid. Then there are capital improvements, interest payments. A conglomerate the size of the Wild Pines is like a shark. If it stops moving, it will die. Then what becomes of those 72,000 families? It's a tremendous responsibility.
And where do they get all these billions, huh?
They started as an exploration and cargo fleet conducting trade between the Samaran and Insulindian Isolas 250 years ago, when pine ships explored the South Seminese and charted Lomantanga on behalf of the suzerain.
Lomantanga.
Centuries of care, deliberation, and madness have gone into this endeavor. Vessels pass through the great unrest to re-emerge with apricots in tow. The logic of the system is totalizing. It's taken everything from its employees to build it.
Probably helps if you start out with a small loan of $1 million.
You know more than you let on. Certainly it helped, but most of the original Indo tribes have failed or been absorbed. To survive, Wild Pines had to grow and adapt. No suzerain did that.
And what does such a huge system want with a place like this?
You mean aside from being the terminal's legal owners, who are responsible for moving 8% of the world's cargo?
That's quite the endeavor, but you don't keep it moving, the workers do.
We built this district.
We built this city.
We. There it is. She owns up to it.
All the best parts of it. Rue de Saint-Ghislain, with its bastions, the plazas Meteor and Mosaic, even some of the old street lamps have been put back thanks to the investments from the WP. Before Martinez was swallowed by the industrial harbour, even before it was part of Revachol, long before Terminal B was erected here, the Pines built it as a resort for its Revacholian employees. A company getaway, for a weekend or a summer holiday. Then came the revolution. But that's another matter. I'm here to make sure the Pines can fulfill their responsibilities to the place they built.
Yeah, they better.
With your help, hopefully, says her warm tone.
Oh, so she's like basically on the worker side here. What can you tell me about the strike?
Everything. Right up to, but not including, trade secrets.
What if I want to hear about trade secrets?
First, you'd have to repeal the Emergencies Act of Trade in Aliments. That gives me the right to silence. It's quite the octopus.
How do I repeal it then?
Why? By throwing off half a century of foreign domination under the Coalition. Unfortunately for you, the Coalition also leases you the right to police West Revachol.
Oh, sad.
You'd be shooting yourself in the foot, in other words.
Sad.
But I am derailing us. You wanted to know about the strike.
Yeah, what's your role?
I believe the official title is Senior Labor Negotiator. In practice, I'm a grocery clerk. I relay the union's demands to Wild Pines and return with Wild Pines' counteroffer.
More of a messenger than a clerk.
And how are the talks going?
They're not. That's the problem. The union stopped all negotiations a week ago. after that awful lynching took place. Now they won't even let me into the harbor. There's a 2-meter 20 racist behemoth blocking the gates.
Tell me about this behemoth.
What can I say? The Union employs a giant covered in tattoos.
Oof.
A racist giant. I guess that's part of their big tent organization now.
And how are they going before the lynching?
Let's say I was not making the kind of progress I'd hoped for when I first arrived.
Oof.
And when did you first arrive?
I arrived 3 weeks ago. Yes, in the middle of February. The bay was still partially frozen then. I prefer to do these things on site, like the RCM.
But the strike began in December.
I wasn't the original negotiator here. I took over after Mr. Gaumont hit a wall with Mr. Clare, the union boss.
Damn.
Mr. Clare refused to speak with Gaumont despite concessions he'd granted the union in prior negotiations.
Damn.
This isn't the first time the union has gone on strike.
Heavens no. There have been 2 prior strikes. Both times the union won significant concessions, including overtime pay and a medical plan. This time their demands are more, I guess you could say, aggressive.
You weren't giving them overtime pay and a medical plan before? Bruh?
Ludicrous even. It's meant.
And what happened to this Gaumont?
Mr. Clare told him to, how did he put it?
Go fuck yourself?
Fuck off, midget.
Oh.
Gaumont is short of stature, you see.
Ew, not cool.
Keep in mind, this is a negotiator Mr. Clare has worked with before, and who was more than fair with him and the union.
What are the demands?
There are leaflets everywhere, and banners. What did they say again? Oh yes. Every worker, a member of the board.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot.
Most of the workers probably don't know what that means.
I don't know what to think about that.
Fortunately, they explained it. Every time the Wild Pines group makes a decision about anything, it needs the signature of each of the 2,200 workers in its Martinez terminal.
That's a little much.
Just so you understand, this is but one of 22 terminals owned by Wild Pines. Essentially, not only are they kings of the company, they are also kings of the 72,000 employees of Wild Pines Group.
I mean, that's pretty funny.
They're having a blast. But how can they afford it? After 4 months, my assumption was they would prefer a more practical solution.
Well, what are you gonna do?
I'm not sure. Naturally, I assumed that was just their opening position, a hard-nosed tactic with a side of mockery. But there's been no follow-up, just the same nonsensical slogan repeated over and over again.
Bruh.
And now, people are getting lynched, I hear. Behind the whirling in rags, a disastrous situation if there ever was one.
Excuse me, from whom did you hear about this lynching?
I first heard it from the boyar at the gates.
Boya.
The one whose very name advertises his aversion to work. I think he said it was, "Call me mañana."
Call me mañana.
This checks out.
Boya at the gate. The scabs at the gate, you put them there?
The scabs? You mean the huddled masses of Jamrock, come to plead for work where the union refuses to? If they were organized by Wild Pines or its affiliates, then it would be a company secret. I could not share it with you. Not right now, at least.
It's implied. She's open to discussing this matter with you at a later occasion.
When you're more in on it. So tell me about this union boss.
Everard Clare is a man of the utmost integrity. If you can say one thing about him, it's that he always puts the interests of the workers first.
Does he?
Of course not. Everard is fantastically corrupt. I imagine he has a thick, viscous goo where you and I have blood.
That bad?
He is the most corrupt individual I have ever seen, and I deal with men like him for a living. If there is anyone more venal, more irredeemably nepotistic, then it's his twin brother, Edgar.
Oof, there's 2 of them?
Yes, Edgar looks exactly like his brother, except for that lazy eye. He also talks exactly like Everard does, and when one's term as foreman is up, the other takes over.
Ew.
It's how they circumvent the term limits, you see, with a funny little switcheroo. While in office, they've embezzled God knows how much of their workers' dues.
What about the union itself outside the Brothers Clare?
The Debardeurs Union was once a perfectly normal institution. 20 years ago, anyway. It must not have been easy to establish under the Emergency Act, but they did it. I can respect that. Organized labor at its best, as they say. Then something happened in the local chapter elections. The Brothers Clare came and transformed it into a... how do you say?
Like a farce of what it was? A mockery?
A mob. The Debardeurs are a crime syndicate. Sad as it may be, I suspect we'll be forced to cooperate with them.
Nor.
Refreshingly honest, officer. The company has tried appeasing in the past, but I'm afraid our concessions have only emboldened Everard and his brother. And your opinion, Detective, if I may ask? I'm a curious and talkative person, you see. Would you say the Debardeurs Union is...
Honestly, given how fucking corrupt they are, I think they're probably just leeching on them.
Indeed. And a hungry one. Sadly, Wild Pines have cooperated with what amounts to a crime syndicate for 2 decades. However much you feed the leech always hungers.
One more thing, you said something happened in the elections?
I'm glad you asked. There was a woman, the previous forewoman of the Union. She disappeared.
Oh, Nor. Killed?
Disappeared?
Yes. On the last day of the local chapter elections, her daughter phoned in and said she wasn't running anymore. Or coming to work. Ever. End of story.
Some kind of extortion?
Indeed. The company suspects foul play, but there's nothing they could do. It was a union matter. The point of the presentation is, these kinds of things happen around the Clares. Watch out when you're dealing with him.
Noted.
Thank you for your concern, ma'am. We'll be just fine.
Well, that's all I need for this. Let's change the
Of
topic.
course. How else can I help?
You have so much. What can you tell me about the lynching?
Quite a few things, I'm afraid. The information I'm to share with you includes sensitive trade secrets. For the sake of my employer, I have to ask for your names and badge numbers.
Sure.
Of course, ma'am. We should have introduced ourselves. I am Lieutenant Kitsuragi from Precinct 57. And this is my colleague from Precinct 41. I'm afraid he doesn't have his badge at the moment. I hope mine will suffice.
Yeah, I don't got no badge, I'm sorry.
How curious. Why is that, Detective?
Me big dumb.
Awkwardness washes over the conversation. The woman doesn't like this turn of events.
Remember when my partner told you I'm fucked in the head? Yeah, my lost badge is related to that.
I see. So, are you saying you lost your badge during the course of this episode?
Honestly, I could have eaten it for all I know. I don't remember jack shit. This world, this city, fucking nothing.
Oh dear. Some kind of encephalopathic amnesia. I don't even know how to respond. I do believe you, naive as that may sound. I simply can't imagine what you gain by faking such a condition.
Pocket change?
As I said, ma'am, his technique may be very unconventional, but he is an officer of the RCM.
Of course, I sympathize. But I'm afraid I simply can't share anything more until I've seen that badge.
Fuck.
Hang on. She's a professional negotiator. She should be open to some sort of mutually beneficial arrangement.
Oh, it's a red check. What kind of arrangement?
I mean, favors for favors. A dirty alliance of some sort. Consider this. Perhaps she has been planning it all along. That you convince yourself into colluding with her.
83%. I don't like that this is a red check and it can't be retried, but let's try it.
Feelings.
Are
will
you
guide the
fucking
way.
kidding me? Hold on.
You see a young man on a balcony nursing a cigarette.
Oh.
His eyes have been following you for a while.
Not looking for any trouble, officer.
Okay, well, I reloaded and it took me way further back than I thought. I equipped this because it was a suggestion check to get that alliance. I can't believe it was 83% and I failed, and I can't accept that. But I just realized that this guy is actually talkable too.
It's the voice of someone who has something to hide, my liege.
I'll come back to this later. I need to go form an alliance.
Consider this.
Okay.
Perhaps she has been planning it all along.
We're back in it,
That you
boys.
convince yourself into colluding with her.
Okay. 83%. It's gotta happen this time. Please.
Easy.
Thank God.
Just offer her a favor. Like I said, nice and dirty.
Surely there's some other way to demonstrate our law enforcement credentials.
I will be frank with you. If I'm going to break protocol, I need to be able to justify it to my superiors. They're going to want to see something very tangible.
You're in, but expect her to drive a hard bargain.
Like what?
Reports from inside Terminal B suggest it's a hub for the local drug trade. This is an open secret in Martinez. The Union controls the terminal, so it goes to reason. The company has tried looking into this matter before, to no avail. Perhaps someone with your authority and resources might turn over the right stones.
I have hardly any authority, honestly.
Or you can recover your badge. Though if I may be blunt with you, it sounds like that may be a lost cause.
Hey, it might be in my jacket. You don't know.
Detective, a word in private before we continue.
Yeah, excuse me.